a special guest for us today. Welcome to Phumblepodcast, episode 76. I'm your host, Pej. You know me as Pej the Maniac on all social media platforms. Make sure you follow me there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. As always, it helps me a lot. And give me some super thanks because I have added that feature now on my YouTube channel. You know where to find this podcast, Fumble Podcast. It's on all platforms with video on YouTube and Spotify. All right, now that that's out the way, I'd like to introduce you to a person that has been connected to me through my coach, who was on this podcast previously, Coach David Thompson. Stephanie Van Taylor is my guest today, and I'm going to give a quick bio. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for coming on. Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you. So, Stephanie Van Taylor.
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure. Thank you for coming on. So, a mini bio on Stephanie. Here we go. Stephanie Van Taylor is an Arizona cosplayer. Just recently moved to Texas. Model and now pursuing acting. Attending and working shows since 2012. She has done collaborations with Big Dog Inc., Aspen, and now Mount Olympus Comics, to name a few. After studying costume design and production in film, she practices and shares her passions at shows, Instagram, and recently Twitch. She likes to call herself a creative dreamer. With belief and action, all things are possible. I 100% agree with that. And a favorite quote that she lives by. And that's with belief and action, all things are possible. By the way, who who quoted that?
You know, to be honest, I don't. I saw it randomly online, and it just resonated with me, and I was like, "Ooh, I love this." I'm gonna say that to myself every single day now. So I live by it.
That's all that matters, right? And whoever is if someone knows who has that quote and is who is the responsible for that line, put it in the comments. We would love to know because it's a great line and it's 100% true. We want to talk about this cosplay interest of yours. Now, let's start with that. How did you get into it? At what age? When did you start having a growing passion for cosplaying?
Yeah, so I was 23, I think, when I first got into it. It was 2011. I went to Phoenix Comic-Con, which is what it used to be called back in the day. Now it's called Phoenix Fan Fusion. They keep changing the name because they're getting sued by San Diego Comic-Con over that. Oh, gosh. But anyways, yeah, it's silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to go, but I didn't want to go alone. So I had a friend come with me, and I actually helped put together both of our costumes. And it was my first year going and my first introduction to cosplay and Comic-Con, like that whole scene. Mm-hmm. And it just really opened up this new doorway for me with my passions, previous and production and film.
Wow.
I didn't realize, there was this huge costume.
Yeah.
History.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna ask what was the costume you made for yourself and your friend?
Yeah, so we did X-Men characters.
Yeah, which characters?
So I was Mystique and Mystique.
Yeah. No, I know that. That's
are you familiar with?
I am.
Yeah, not the movie versions.
Not the movie versions, but the comic versions. Yeah. Okay, well, if you have photos of those and you're open to sharing them, I'd love to throw those on this episode because that's really interesting to me. Yeah. And what about your friends? Who was what character was your friends?
She was dressed up as Emma Frost, who's another character in the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was our first time going, but further, it wasn't until like the next year I really got super into it. My adopted mom had actually passed away, and we were huge fans of the Fifth Element, which is a movie near and dear to my heart with her. And so, yeah, taking my costume design experience, I figured I would a costume to her. And so it was my second year going to Comic-Con. My ex-boyfriend had helped me at the time making those silicone suspenders, the orange suspenders Lilu wears from the Fifth Element.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a process. But when I went to the show, wow, like just the reaction I got from so many people, because it's so often people already tell me I look like Mila Jovovich, who is the actress that plays her.
Right.
So when I had the wig, the costume, the boots, everybody was just like, oh my gosh, like you look just like her. And it was just so much fun.
Wow.
And further down, that pathway, I started getting into reading comics a little bit more. I mean, I've always been a huge Batman fan, as you can tell with all the stuff behind me. I'm a DC girl for life.
You know what? I'm DC for sure. I definitely I feel DC's story. I like the darker side of the DC stories. Marvel is not bad, but it's too, especially as of late, they've made them a lot more cartoonish. And I'm not really into that. You know? I like X-Men because X-Men I feel like yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like since Disney took ownership of Marvel, I mean, they have, both of them have good and bad movies. But I think for me, I'm old school, and I grew up with the animated Batman 1992 series. So like that is like the heart of my childhood. And I'll never let that go. So if it comes to picking one or the other, hands down, I'm DC.
There you go.
But I still appreciate the Marvel movies, but I've always just been more into the DC characters.
Hey,
but I've always, like you said, I love X-Men, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan too.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so who is, in your opinion, who plays the best Batman?
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
I don't even need to think about that. I don't even need to think about that. Everybody knows, any Batman fans out there knows Michael Keaton.
yeah. No, listen.
He's just such an icon.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I think I also like Christian Bale's Batman, although that whole story was I think that entire story was really done well to make Joker, especially in The Dark Knight, to make the Joker be the really like anti-hero that you cheer for. Because I caught myself going for Joker. I was like, Joker's got to win this movie. Like he has to win at this, you know. Yeah. And I felt in a way he did. In a way he did do that. So, but yeah, Michael Keaton was amazing. Who? Okay, let's now that we're at this point, I have to know, who was your least favorite Batman?
Ooh, this has got to be between either
I think
Val Kilmer or George Clooney.
Okay, yeah.
I'm between those two. I think between the two of them, Val Kilmer. Okay. And don't take me wrong, I love him as an actor, but when it comes to Batman, he just wasn't my favorite. But I still love the guy.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Um, what do you think of man, his name escapes me. The newest one, the newest Batman. He was in
Oh, Patrick. Oh my gosh, I'm having
yeah,
a brain fart
me
too.
too, me too. It's okay. We have Google for this
Uh,
reason.
yeah,
Hold on, Batman. I think it was
I know it.
he was
Just
yeah.
I don't know why I'm having a brain
You know what? It's all right.
fart.
It's okay. That's I like this. This is actually more riveting because people like seeing real stuff on podcasts, and we're showing them that we are
Yeah,
Robert
we're
Pattinson.
human. We forget things.
Yeah.
Robert, right? See, I was somewhere there with the Patrick.
I got the Pat too. I was like Patrick, but it was the last name, and then but yeah. He. What do you think? What do you think of his role in the new one?
I loved him. So me being the big fan that I am, I read the comics, I play the video games, I love and adore all the elements of the previous films.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, this was the first Batman movie where Batman actually really felt like the detective he is. They did a great job capturing all of the elements in all of the different universes, the games. I love just the darkness in it. And like for me, I felt like there's always a challenge between being Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton slayed both. And I feel like Robert Pattinson did the same thing. He was different and his own version, and I appreciated it.
I think Robert Pattinson brought the human side out of Batman.
Yeah.
You know, he really showed that he was, he was just an orphan kid, which they don't really touch on, but but like he wanted to help, but he was also he was a smart guy, but he was not. He was not like super. He didn't have a lot of superpowers other than what he created. Like they really showed that. I thought in
I remember a specific scene where he was flying off the building and like kind of rolled and crashed to the ground and they showed him actually getting hurt. I felt like that was the first time like they actually showed that compared to like other movies where you actually hear and see him get hurt from the fall.
No,
and they have not really had that element. Yeah.
No, you're right. And of course the makeups they did for gosh, what's his Oz, for example, Colin Farrell playing Oz. Yeah, like that was such great makeup in that movie. I thought it was great. Paul Dano, I always liked Paul Dano, even from his movie Prisoner. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. No,
I haven't, but I know and love the actor. I haven't seen that movie though.
That was one of my favorite movies when it came out. I think it was 2013 or 2012. But that Hugh Jackman was in that. But anyway, it's did you see the little Easter egg with the Joker in the movie? Did you catch that in this film?
I guess which Easter egg, like specifically with the Joker? Like are you just saying like did I see that final scene in the end of the credits? Yes.
Yeah, that scene you saw, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole time I thought I was I was expecting the Joaquin Phoenix Joker to tie into this movie at some point, but it never did. Yeah, I mean that. What do you think? I mean, they're making a sequel to Joker too, so
So, yeah, I knew they we're not going to have Joaquin just because it was already announced a long time ago that there was going to be a sequel to Joker. And there were rumors that had went around, and I remember stalking the articles and stuff. So I knew he wasn't going to be in the Batman because they really dove out of everything Batman. They really dove into the video game for this one. So even the Joker in that you saw in the movie was just like the one in the video game. Like they were really taking a lot of inspiration from the game with this one. Yeah.
I see. I haven't played as much video games, admittingly, as I used to, but I'm trying to see if I need to get back into it. But that's yeah. Go ahead.
If you do, or when you do, you've got to check out the Arkham series. I mean, it's already over. There's like 4 or 5 games out of the whole series. But it was probably like I'm not just saying this because I'm a Batman fan, but it was the best video game series I've ever played. And I still I used to be on PlayStation. Now I'm on PC. I purposely repurchased the games just so I can play it on PC because I just want to play them again because they were that great. So.
Yeah. No, okay, awesome. I will remember that. Well, cool. Let's segue back now a little bit into talking about your cosplay. We talked about games and now movies. We've been talking about alongside comics. Movie parties. Tell me about this. This is all on your Twitch platform.
Oh, okay. So yeah, with my Twitch platform, the movie parties haven't officially started yet. So I only got back on Twitch about 2 months ago, and I've just been doing more costume stuff and video games. But I will start to do movie parties where I want to do like trivia and stuff. It was probably about 3.5, 4 years ago. I originally started my Twitch channel, but I had to take like a long break because I actually went through a whole process with my health and discovered that I was suffering with fibromyalgia. I had to take a long break between Twitch and my costumes just because I was dealing with a lot of pain that I didn't understand, like why I had it and what was triggering it. So I went through a good 2 years of seeing different doctors and physical therapists, and thankfully tested negative for just about every single thing. So it's just been concluded that I have fibromyalgia, and there's not exactly a blood test that says that you have it. It's more that you just have to test out of everything else.
I see.
But with that said, I've done physical therapy. I've learned how to manage it and live with it. And so now that I've got it down, I know my limits of how much sewing I can physically handle. Mentally, like what mental capacity do I have to be live on my Twitch, every other week or every week, just trying to manage that and kind of check in with myself about my body and how I feel. So now that I've grasped that, now I'm back on Twitch and I've got a flow gradually getting there because everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So my Twitch channel has not really kicked off that much, but it will happen. It's just, one day at a time. So like any platform. So
100%. I want to say this though, and I want you to plug all the social media platforms you're on, but it sounds like you've kind of gotten a good grasp now on the fibro. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it. What's the medical term that you?
It's okay. It's fibromyalgia.
Fibromyalgia.
And
sorry.
yeah.
How is it?
Yeah,
Are you?
It's basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to be aware of like my stress that between like physically and mentally, because any kind of stress is what triggers the pain attacks that I experience.
Oh yeah.
Basically I suffer with a lot of random nerve pain. I have some days where it feels like my feet are on fire and they swell up to a point that it actually affects my mobility. So I used to be a long distance runner. So I kind of had to adapt and find different workouts that were less extreme on my body. So now I'm just more into walking and yoga. I do still try to run though, just because am not a quitter and I don't want to let this control me, like control me and the things I do. So I don't run as much as I used to, but I know my limits with it. So kind of finding that balance of, just getting older and adapting with it and listening to your body. Because if you don't have your health, you can't do anything. So
that's so true. Good for you.
I've just
Good for you.
Become an advocate.
I'm giving you an applause for that. That's really good. I love to see people that have fight and have will and they are strong, more mentally than physically, and which translates to physically eventually. But that's
thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. Well, that's good to know that you're back on Twitch. So now let's plug your channels. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to follow you on all your platforms. So yeah, what's your handle? What are your handles?
So my name as it is, Stephanie Van Taylor. If you look it up on YouTube, I'm there. If you go on Patreon, which please, if you love to support artists and follow costume work, I'm on Patreon. I have a YouTube channel because I am also a dancer. So when I make costumes, I like to bring them to life by dance or just random videos I feel like making. So I've got a YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook. I'm mostly on Instagram when it comes to posting and announcements. I like to put a lot of stuff in my Instagram story, but yeah, it's Stephanie with the PH, ends with IE, and then Van Taylor. Luckily, I was able to snag that name on just about every platform.
Yeah. Well, the Van Taylor is very unique, and I feel, and I don't think there are many Stephanie Van Taylors around. So, you guys have So your channels are all posted on the screen here, so they will see that and we get the chance to follow you. Do you do now with Twitch? Is it most now? I'm not on Twitch as of yet. I'm planning to be eventually, but it's mostly geared towards live streaming. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's just like strictly live streaming. But you can do whatever you want to do with that platform, which is why it's so much fun. Because it's not like, it's most commonly known for video games, but you can really do whatever you want on that platform. You're live and you're engaging with people, and it's a great platform to grow on.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I know a few influencers who use Twitch a lot. So that's I think I need to get on that. I'm a comedian, so I feel like there's use for a comedian on the Twitch platform. So
yeah, absolutely. You could do like a stand-up happy hour or something live. People will come in.
I love that. Yeah, it's geared for the people, right? That's why I like Fanbase as well. I don't know if you use Fanbase. I started on Fanbase like a month ago, and I
haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's kind of new, but it's designed to support the artist, and not force the artist to kind of go through a bunch of tests like a lot of these apps make you do to get to a monetization level. So you can monetize from the beginning, which is great. Like you could have one follower is what I mean. And it doesn't matter. Like you can be monetized. Right. So, but it's, in that sense, I feel like it's a great app, but I got to check Twitch out as well. But yeah, so future Comic-Con events, you told me about New York Comic-Con. Okay. So, so the original Comic-Con wasn't, where was that? Like, I know San Diego Comic-Con is huge, but
so I did kind of skip a huge part that I should have dove a little bit more into earlier. That second year I went to Comic-Con is what triggered my career with it. Well, and I don't mean to say career like I'm making, crazy money. I'm doing all these shows. It's not like that.
Right.
It's more of a fun hobby that allows me to expand my skills with costume design and network with people for other opportunities, which is what it's done for me. So as some background, in 2013, I met my dear friend, Tom Hutchinson, who is the creator and writer, founder of Big Dog Ink Comics. He had a great comic book story that I fell in love with, character named Critter, which is also the name of the comic. I loved it so much that I dedicated time and money into making a costume that was accurate to the comic book. And when I sent him pictures, he was like, "Oh, this." So next thing I know, it's like 3-4 years goes by and I'm doing like 4 shows a year with him, traveling all over the country. He introduced me to Aspen. We did a show, my first show ever at San Diego Comic-Con was with him at with Aspen Comics in San Diego. So that kind of just built these other relationships. So I just recently moved from Arizona to here in Texas, but back home, I had met Ron Zabala, who is the creator and founder of Mount Olympus Comics. So now I work with him and I travel and try to work at shows together. So this year I've got a super exciting costume lineup for New York Comic Con. Because I'm working on a secret project for Halloween, I'm kind of just having fun for New York and just going with costumes that I purchased, just because like I mentioned with my fibromyalgia, I can't rush costumes anymore, and I shouldn't, because then that ruins the craftsmanship and overall, product of the costume. So that was a big thing I learned to cosplay after my diagnosis with fibromyalgia. So now I learned to be more patient with myself and understand that it's okay to just purchase costumes like at shows. There's nothing wrong with that. The point is just having fun. And for me to take my time with my projects, because that is how I'm going to get better, is just like I keep saying, one day at a time. So my secret project that I'm working on now is for Halloween, and New York Comic Con's in early October. So I won't finish it until shortly after the show. So it'll be a fun reveal for Halloween. Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That sounds amazing. And when is this When is New York Comic Con? When is that happening?
It is October. I'm looking at a calendar. It is October 6th to the 9th.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 4-day event with them. So it's a Thursday through Sunday.
Wow.
But I'm really excited because I love New York. And I hope to live there someday. I love it so much. But I'm really excited to have the opportunity to go there this year.
Wow. And I'm assuming you're going to be live streaming some stuff from there, maybe on your channels.
Maybe, because when I am at the shows, it's not so much for me. It's more about the comic books. The relationship that I have is I get, and sorry, I'm kind of there to help them with the sales of their comic books. Okay. But from time to time, they will commission me to make costumes based on their characters, which is why I will dress up and perform at their booth. Eventually, and I'm hoping to get a booth for Phoenix Comic Con, like my own booth next year. That way I can really kick off and show people what I got and what fun things I want to do, at my booth, and tell them my stories and my platforms and just grow and meet people. So I'll get there. But in the meantime, I'm still learning and networking, doing all these shows with all the writers that I work with. It's a fun, great experience.
Yeah, it sounds it. It sounds fun and interesting, and I'm happy that you're building your brand and also networking into these, pretty major events. The New York Comic Con is no walk in the park. It's
Yeah, no, it's wild.
yeah, yeah.
This will be my second year. It's huge.
That's great. And I guess we can wrap with your acting career. If you want to tell me a little bit about that, how that's going and what projects you're involved with.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, since I was a kid, I've always been into modeling. For laughs, I actually used to be a Harkins kid, like wearing the t-shirts and the Harkins cups. I had a contract with them when I was just a kid. So I started modeling at a very young age. And that kind of led me getting into theater. And I did a lot of shows with like a children's theater company in Arizona called Desert Stages. And then as I got older, aside from acting, I got really into dance. And then in high school, I started getting more into the prop costume design side of it. But the more that I've been doing these Comic-Con shows, it's been opening up my eyes and making me realize that after all these years doing all these shows, making all these costumes, I think what I love the most is acting. I go to these shows and I wear the costume and I, act like the character. And I'm like, why am I not pursuing acting? So for me, it's Comic-Con and cosplay has really helped me identify myself more and my passions and what I really want to do with my life. There's dealing with the passing of my mom and taking care of my family, like things have calmed down. So I feel like I can really get back to me now. And gosh, I feel like that sounds a little bit selfish.
No, not at all.
The way I just said that. But, now, yeah. So I guess now I just kind of feel like, I moved out of Arizona for the first time ever in my whole life. I've been there my whole life. And now I feel like I was scared to move out of Arizona. But now that I've done it, I'm like, okay, now I feel like I can do anything.
Yeah.
So just recently, after my move, I invested my money into acting classes, and now you and I share the same coach, the wonderful David Thompson.
Yes.
So now I'm doing acting classes and coaching with him. And I'm trying to always look at what is the next thing that I can do to grow as an actor and get myself out there. So now, even though I just got settled here in Texas, I'm planning to relocate to Atlanta, Georgia, where I keep getting calls for auditions. Yeah. So I feel like it will help me a lot to relocate again in a city where there's a lot of opportunity.
Listen, Atlanta is becoming a breeding ground almost for actors, actresses, and a lot of other entertainment careers are popping off over there too. It's a very strong city, and it's I hear every day more and more people that are in the acting industry, and they're going there or they get opportunities there. And of course music has always been big there too, but just in general, it's like the entertainment industry is not any longer just New York and LA. It's really spreading out through those other cities, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing. And to go back about the thing when you said you feel like that sounded selfish, I don't agree with that because you already prefaced how you were taking care of your family for so long, and you're still doing that. What I think I would say, and this is something actually Coach Thompson reminded me as well, is that we changed the word selfish to self-full. Self-full is is I feel like a much stronger way to describe it, because you're not being arrogant, or you're not taking anything from others. You're just adding to your own potential, right? And that's being self-full, and you're loving yourself, which is huge, right? We all, a lot of us struggle with that as a society. It's so easy to not think about ourselves and our own health and our own well-being, when we're because it's such a constantly like pleasing other people. And I struggled with this myself. So you're not selfish, you're self-full. That's what I want to say. But
thank you. And you're so right. I did have this conversation with David just recently. So I'm still, got a bad habit of saying things a certain way, and I'm still working on changing that mindset and that way of talking. So thank you for the reminder. And I appreciate that.
Well, listen, I struggled with it too. I still do. I still have to catch myself. But yeah, it's, we are all put on this earth for a reason. We have something to give. We have a value to add to this society, and I think the narrative, that's the narrative we have to wake up every day with. But I'm really happy for you. You have so many options now opened up, that opportunities that are coming up. That sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing more the next time. If you would have me and come back on this show, I'd love to have you on again. Yeah.
I would love that. And I friends who's been my leading photographer for years, and she is the big reason of why I've been getting a lot of opportunities lately, because of her shots that she's done on me. But her name is Brittany Williams.
Hi, Brittany Williams.
And she's got Brittany Williams. I'll make sure to give you the links or put them in here. But
yeah, absolutely.
She's a good friend, and her work is amazing. And I have to give her so much credit, because of her, I have made auditions because of the shots that she's taken of me that have helped me stand out as an actor. And so that's a big part in the audition process, is your portfolio. So I just have to give a shout out to her, because she's
Brittany
amazing.
Williams, that's awesome. Yes. And that's why you're not selfish. See, you just proved it. But yeah, that's great. Thank you, Brittany Williams, for helping Stephanie out. And obviously your talents are a big part of that, right? It's a combination of things that has gotten you to this point, and I'm excited to see where your career goes in the future. As you guys have seen this episode, we spoke all things cosplay, video games, comics, Batman, and acting career, of course, and Comic-Con. Stephanie, it's been a great pleasure to have you on. Once again, follow her on all her platforms. This has been episode 76. You know what to do. Follow me, Pej the Maniac. I'm on Fanbase now, as I mentioned, as well as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. I post daily comedy content on TikTok and Instagram. And this podcast is coming out. It is out right now for all intents and purposes. But I post daily videos on my YouTube channel as well. So subscribe to me there. This has been episode 76. I appreciate you. Thank you, Stephanie Van Taylor. And I will catch everyone on the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.